and welcome to the 4Corners podcast. I'm Brad, joined as always by Matt and Chad. Gentlemen, how are you doing this evening? We were talking like a bunch of old
Chad said,
hens
no,
before the show started.
Chad said nothing. I was like, I think we were both waiting for the other person to
Yeah,
talk.
we were both waiting on something. But to answer the question, I'm good. I'm a bit wore out. I had a big convention this past weekend, so
Was that the Lexington one?
yeah, it was a great time. Patrick Warburton, it was amazingly cool.
Patrick Warburton.
Yeah. Okay. Funny thing about Patrick Warburton, I know he gets, he gets pestered about lines so much when there is a surcharge on his booth for saying a particular line. When you go to get a picture or an autograph, it's like, I get it. But he was amazingly cool. I just get pictures with people. I don't get autographs usually because, frankly, I think that the picture's way more personal. So I went to get a picture with him. He's like, "Hey, how you doing? What's your name?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not getting an autograph, sir." He goes, "I didn't ask you that. I asked you what's your name." And I'm like, "Oh, it's Shad." He goes, "That start with a C or an S?" I was like, "With an S." He goes, "That's cool. I like that." And in my head, I'm like, "Oh my God, he's being so cool right now." So
that's always
got a picture with.
I like that.
I like that. That's good stuff. I didn't realize it, but I'm like way broader in the shoulders than he is. I'm only a little bit taller than him, but I'm like way broader in the shoulders than him, which threw me because anything you see him in, he's like, "I'm the big guy on set, and I'm here being manly," and I'm just like, that's not what I expected.
No, I mean there's I'm the same way. Like there's pictures of me with like pro athletes, and I'm broader shouldered than they are. Chad's met me. I'm a very wide person.
I think I qualify as a wide person as well.
But even when I'm small, like I'm still like I can't like I could when I'm like when I was like 185, like I still couldn't wear medium because I'm so like broad shouldered and like wide. I had to stay in larges and like I have a wide body.
But yes, he was excellently cool. The booth I was working at was set up so that I could look basically to our left and I could see the wrestler row. So it was Saraya and Foley and Terry Taylor, Ricky Steamboat, Jerry Lawler. Lawler was next to Foley. So Saraya, Foley, Lawler, Terry Taylor, Ricky Steamboat, and then Devon, and then Kane.
Does Lawler sell any of his art when he goes to those things?
He started selling crowns.
Oh.
This is a odd question, but did you hear him talk? Like, does he have like the okay?
His face looks very different than when I saw him a few years ago. I mean, yeah, he's going to look older, but you could look and realize there's a little more than that because I think he had another stroke.
Yeah, he's had a couple strokes at this point.
And if I remember correctly, I think he's got like, don't hold me to this. I could very well be wrong, but I think he had like facial aphasia.
Yeah, that sounds
that's
right.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, that's why I asked. I'm not trying to be rude, but like, did you hear him talk? Because I think he had aphasia, and I think it might still be like affecting the way he talks, which is that's kind of sad because I mean, he actually had a very unique, like a distinct, not unique, distinct way of like talking in his voice. He's actually people who just remember him as like, oh, the guy who would scream puppies as a commentator on Raw. It's like you don't appreciate how we've been watching like USWA. You don't appreciate how good of a talker, how good of a worker he was, etc.
How good his like, if he's doing like commentary, like before he got flanderized, like how good some of his like one-liners are and how biting he can be, and just how effortless it is. Because who I think it was Bret Hart was talking about like how much he liked working with Lawler. 'Cause, like, yeah, he would just you wouldn't do anything and he'd already have the audience like booing the crap out of him. Like it was easy.
Yeah. I didn't hear him talk. No, I saw Devon talking, and he was getting, he seemed to be having a good time talking to people. I'm like, good for you, Devon. You're not saddled with your dumbass former tag partner anymore.
I struggle with those things though because I never like I don't say a lot to him, and like a lot of people are fine with that, but then you run into like the odd one that like wrestler or like celebrity that kind of get offended that you're not like talking to him.
You mean like Coco?
Well, Coco didn't care. You didn't have to talk. No, but I've had some before. Like they seem kind of unapproachable. Then you say something and they start chatting at you and stuff. I don't know. It's always weird.
No, I was referring to the way Coco went at me about that. It was pretty funny. But...
Well, I mean, I think you're upset now though because I think you would have a lot more interest in him. Like if we went back now after seeing some more of his stuff.
Oh no, it wasn't that. I was just being quiet because I hadn't paid for that photo op, so I was just being quiet because I was like, this isn't my time. And he just turned around and goes, "What's your deal, big guy?" Like, well, I didn't pay for this. I'm just hanging out with my friend here. He goes, "Get in here, man." I'm like, okay.
I've never seen Coco in a convention, but I feel like if I did and I was like committed to take an autograph or whatever, he's short, this big. He looks
he's
short,
like
but I mean,
5. He's like 5'8" or 5'9".
Still big though.
He'd be a really good MMA fighter if you meet him because he's got really pointy elbows. Like he could cut some people up.
I would, if I ever met him, like if I had like just a couple minutes, I'd be like, I would want to pick his brain. I would like tell me about your tag team back in the day with Bobby Eaton. Like I'm gonna go way back, old school. Like Coco, we're gonna talk about stuff that happened like 45, 50 years ago.
Or like, hey, did that jobber you smacked the shit out of? Did he get beat up more backstage afterwards?
Yeah. But in any event, it was a good time. A friend of mine went to go see. He had the perfect timing to go see Deborah Ann Woll because it was the lull in the day and she had nobody in line. So he got to talk with her for like 10 minutes.
Because it's oh, sorry.
He comes back and I was like, so he's telling the story. I was like, you didn't propose at the end of it, did you? And he's like, no, shut up. I'm like,
So I don't even remember what the show is, but like Shad will know the frustration. So it's supposed to be like a documentary about something that happened in Louisville. And I'm like, I don't find this authentic because they have some woman talking about it. She calls it Louisville. And it's like, okay, you obviously have not lived there long or you're not a local because you would literally get stabbed, even in Cincinnati, for saying it wrong.
Yeah, you'd get directed to leave.
Yeah, because if you're watching this and you don't know, because people that aren't like from around the surrounding areas, it is not Louisville, it is Louisville.
It's Louisville.
Yeah, I can't say it right.
I don't care who it is. I don't care what your opinion is. You listen to the people that live there. They're right and you're wrong. It is Louisville. And I've never heard,
because even Cornette doesn't call it. Even Cornette calls, I can't get I can't roll it properly, but like, at least when I fuck it up, you can tell I'm trying to say it properly.
Yeah. It's like what? Appalachia versus
cha.
So here's
you got to go cha.
Finish your thought.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna add like for in the Virginia because I'm in Northern Virginia and this is like 3-hour drive south, but it's not Norfolk, it's Norfolk. Like there's
right.
It's almost like a dirty word, but
yeah,
it's just the way the regional pronunciation is. So
just so you know the background. Appalachia is pronounced that way because it is named after the Appalachian Indians, not the Appalachian Indians. That's not how it's the Appalachian tribe that's what the mountain range is named after. And I have had to have that argument a few times. It's just like, I'm gonna stab somebody.
I feel like that's gotten better because of like some media that has said it properly.
Justified.
Well, there's crazy geography stuff to get wrong, because like Glee at one point they had someone go from like Westerville, Ohio to where they were in Cleveland, and it was like that's like a 3-hour drive.
That's justified. At one point, his boss says to Raylan, he goes, "God, Raylan, do you make this drive every week? And how do you do this?" And Raylan's like, "Listen to a lot of books on tape and try to stay zen." It's like, yeah, it's a 3-hour drive here, bud.
If you don't know what they pretty much had them do, like an after-school trip to visit someone from a suburb of Cleveland to a suburb of Columbus.
That's not a short.
Yeah, not short at all.
No.
But so we have our final bout of Bryan Danielson matches. There isn't really much. There wasn't much news lately. In the last week, I don't think much of anything happened.
Not really. I guess they announced like a day or two ago that John Cena's going to host WrestleMania,
because they're desperate.
But up until last night, like I think they announced that like over the weekend, and then at the time, because people made a joke about it on Twitter, which is true, it's like they found a place for John Cena on WrestleMania, but they hadn't had anything booked for Gunther, the guy who retired him like 4 months ago, which is like fair criticism. And then now it's Gunther versus Seth Rollins, because like that makes any sense.
Yeah.
There was a bit of news.
What's
Dennis
that?
Condrey passed away.
Oh, right.
That's true. Yeah.
Yep. And that's rough.
Yeah, well, the circumstances I think are terrible, because I think what Cornette did, was it Cornette who shared the details?
Maybe.
Somebody.
I'm looking it up
think it was
because I never
Cornette.
did.
What happened? I remember he died, but I didn't.
So he I think he had been sick, but his health was starting to go down, and he was married, and I guess his wife was literally like a week or two from retirement, where she was going to retire, and then just they just
that
retire and
sucks.
spend time together. And he's like in his hallway or someplace, Armid, I don't know, but fell, and I think reading between the lines, like it almost sounds like he broke his neck.
Oh my god!
He was like paralyzed, and because he fell, and it's like he could not move to get help, could not move to.
Did he like fall down the stairs? Like what?
The Wikipedia article.
It seems like he just fell. Sorry to cut you off, Shad. Let me just finish what I had heard, because you probably have the actual more accurate info. I think the story was like he fell, injured himself, or broke his neck, something horrible, and he couldn't move, and then eventually was found like hours later. And sometimes when you're older, like you fall, no one can find you. Like things can go south really quickly.
So that's why
it's like he was brought to the hospital. Then
well, that's why I know there used to be the I've fallen and I can't get up joke, but that's why they made like the life alert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Chad, I'm sorry. What did you have?
So the story, according to Cornette, is that Condrey fell, broke his neck, paralyzed him from the chest down.
Chest down, okay.
And that, and so,
jeez,
it's. I mean, it just downright sucks, because I'm just to have that happen, to be to have someone go out that way, no matter who it is, sucks. And then what are you gonna do?
He's a very underappreciated worker, because I think I still enjoy the Condrey Eaton version of Midnight Express more. He has the the tag team with Phil Hickerson and Memphis. He's just a great worker that I think doesn't quite get his due, and yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, that's what I heard from some folks that were doing a life retrospective for him, was that about all of the established tag work he had done before the Midnight Express. And first of all, that's really cool, but I didn't know it. And I mean, this is not to sound arrogant or anything, but I mean, this is me. We've been part of this for a long time. I had no idea that he had that. I thought he was a territory guy who drifted around and got paired up and things took off from there. But
he has one of my favorite Cornette stories, because I guess this is when they were Mid-South. They're being chased by a truck full of people looking to do them harm. And so they're speeding down the road and he's driving. And I guess Cornette says he reaches under his seat and he pulls out the biggest gun he's ever seen and starts brandishing at them, and they backed off.
Yeah. The biggest damn automatic pistol he's ever seen in his life. That's an incredibly vague phrase, by the way.
Yeah.
But
I think it's interesting when he talks about that stuff, because he would talk about how, you get your tires slashed and stuff. But he said, like, the real assholes, what they would do is they wouldn't slash your tires. They would stab them, and then your tires would go flat while you're on the highway.
like they'd stab him right around the rim so you couldn't see it.
Yeah.
So
but
that's pretty bad.
There's another thing I want to announce. I'll see what I can do about it. I can't promise we're going to get this, but I do want to, because we were talking about it last week about how we don't get the whole Impact thing, or like who watches it or whatever. So if someone like happens upon this, or is, I doubt a TNA fan listens to this because we shit on it, but I would like legitimately, not in bad faith, I would love to get like a legit, like, TNA is your thing, that is your promotion. I'd love to get you on and just have you sell it. Like,
tell us why.
Yeah, tell us why. Like, we're not going to shit on you. It's not in bad faith. Like, I would genuinely like to know, like, who are your favorite workers? Tell us about some of, like, the storylines that have really popped for you. I'd like to know, because I haven't, like, really watched it the last year and a half, and it always seems bad when I see it. But I would like to know, because I have watched, like, as recently as a couple years ago when it was Impact.
I don't know that he's like an Uber fan, but Mike Gilbert, who does the Mike and JD show. I don't know. I don't know if that's on like the flagship network or whatever, but he's like the TNA point person. But I don't know if he's like, a TNA Impact Strongest Soldier.
Yeah.
But he would be, I guess, maybe someone who could defend them.
I mean, you don't have to.
I think he's not the strongest soldier, because he's not like, oh, they're great, they can't do no wrong. Like, he will be the first to be like, this is the dumbest shit, and he'll trash them. But
that's legit. That's a legitimate reason to be like, look, it's dumb, but that makes it fun.
Yeah, I haven't watched anything from that company since the aughts, really. That was right before the period where I just kind of dropped off the map for it, and between life happening in there and some other stuff, I just didn't watch much of anything in that stretch, and I never got back into it. And stuff I did see didn't really draw me in, but as Brad said, I'm not saying defend its existence, but hey, tell us why. It's not from someone who hasn't really felt compelled. Please, by all means, let me know if I'm missing something. Let me know what I'm wrong about. Let me know.
Yeah, it's really, I just want to pick your brain, because I just want to know. Like, I want to know what you like about it. And like, I mean, I wouldn't do it for WWE fan, because I'm not going to believe you, but like, I would do it for any promotion. Like, if you're a big Marigold fan, like, sure, come on, we'll talk about Marigold.
Tell me why
Not Stardom or CMLL because we are like Matt and I are already like Stardom super fans, so
Hmm.
you don't need to proselytize to us.
Yeah. I saw someone note, and I don't regularly watch it. I feel like it's probably true because I've seen like recaps or descriptions of like TNA, and there certainly is not as much WWE or NXT talent as there used to be. There's some like there's that
Their champion is, I
second
think.
generation. What?
I think they're the champion's a NXT guy still, isn't he?
Dax is I think one of them. But outside of like this one stable that's supposed to be like second generation people,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they're like really. There's a lot of WWE or NXT talent there anymore. Um, and I saw someone theorize like, well, it's because like the whole point of like getting TNA the new TV deal and everything was that they're supposed to cannibalize AEW's ratings, and since then AEW's ratings have only like actually increased,
And so
with
is
WWE ratings actually falling.
And the sad part is TNA is going up in NXT and like all the WWE stuff's going down. Like so.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
TNA is consistently doing around like 250.
Yeah,
Which I didn't think that was possible, but
they've
at this
actually
point, I feel
gone
like
up.
they're doing it.
They've gone up since they started. Which, like, I think people don't maybe appreciate like for a TV show to actually go up from their premiere is abnormal.
yeah.
I guess it's odd to me only because like I feel like the quality of the product is actually as just about as terrible as it's ever been.
It seems
Or
like
close to it. Maybe not as bad as the Vince Russo days, but it's.
I think
Oh,
on
God.
I think on Trish and Sarah, like the one that watches it says like it's not great, but like it's a consistent like mid quality.
So, by the way, just taking a quick look at the TNA champions roster. Santana's their world champion.
Nope, you want it back? Okay.
Yeah. Ariana Grace is the Knockouts champion. I don't know who that is. Leon Slater is the X Division champion.
Yeah, because he's wrestling Ricochet Mania weekend.
Trey Miguel is the international champion.
Okay.
The Hardys are the tag champions, and the Elegance brand are the Knockout tag champions.
Okay.
So.
And Mike Jackson just wrestled on their show a week or two ago.
So I scroll down,
Hmm.
and it's alphabetical order, right? And the first two names alphabetically are Ace Steel and AJ Francis, and I'm immediately like, probably not.
Ace Steel can't still be wrestling, can he?
He's wearing a suit in the picture.
I was gonna say because he trained like Punk in the he'd have to be old because he was just a producer or whatever. Punk's personal butt boy in AEW.
I know the Righteous are there now. Elena Black is, I think, the
Elias
former Cora
is there,
Jade, right?
Yeah, Elena's Corey Jade.
Yeah, Elijah instead of Elias. Eric Young is still there. Props to Eric Young for consistently being employed. Indy Hartwell's there.
Oh yeah, I forgot Indy Hartwell's there. Talk about someone that's done this for like forever and has shown no aptitude for it whatsoever.
Yeah, and I actually how do I phrase this?
She seems like a nice person.
Yeah, I like her as like almost like a person.
Yeah.
And she clearly like does love wrestling, so it's like I guess I find it endearing. Like I want to root for her, but she's been on like TV in some form for the last several years, and
almost since COVID, I think.
Just not gotten better. So she's just not.
Actually, I think she's gotten worse in a lot of ways because a lot of people that spend a lot of time in NXT get worse. But fun fact, since we were talking about second generation stars, the UFC card this weekend had a second generation star of someone that fought on the, I think they fought at like UFC 24 and 27 maybe. And I don't know if that's happened before. So we're getting old because second generation people are popping up in MMA.
Oh, Matthew Raywalt is over there, the former Aiden
Vaudevillian.
English.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in a suit though, so I don't reckon he's wrestling. But
He might be an announcer.
yeah, it's just interesting to see who's there and
It's a real hodgepodge.
that I recognize. That's the phrase I should say. Who's there that I recognize? Because it's not. I don't have anything against them. I'm glad that there are folks who are able to get signed to, a company that's kind of a spot to be on the way up and get on TV and that sort of stuff. But then, man, even if I had the time, I'd be hard pressed. Because as it stands right now, I get to watch AEW, and that's really all I get to watch. Yeah, and it would be a gigantic ask for me to add that on to my schedule.
Well, it's 2 hours, and like I can't even. I would love to watch Ring of Honor programming, and I can't justify 2 hours.
Yeah, it's not that I wouldn't, but having 2 kids and other commitments I've got and that sort of stuff, that's too big an ask. So,
Yeah.
But I would love to hear. Honest to God, I would love to hear someone who is, for lack of a better term, steeped in the lore. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I'd be
me.
interested. Yeah, I'd be interested to know. Like I said, if you're listening to this, like we wouldn't shit on you or anything. Like we're very nice people, and we would just ask you questions. Yeah. Maybe even ask you for recommendeds because that's always something. I'm always interested to check out stuff I've never seen before. So this week's going to be a little divisive, I think, because I think we have some opinions. Because so we decided to. I picked 3 of the Bryan Danielson Nigel McGuinness matches because they kind of are one of the more, I would say, noted rivalries from Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna come right out and say it. I do not think Nigel McGuinness sucks. Like, let's just get that out of the way. I do not think he sucks, but he is just someone that has never connected with me. So I'm gonna have that bias going into this.
I was telling you guys, and now I'm gonna anger a lot of people with my comment. Like, well, I should say this. Like, Nigel McGuinness he's not on my list of like, oh my God, like one of my favorites. But I did see a lot of Nigel McGuinness stuff like the time, and I thought it was good. Fine at the absolute worst. He didn't hook me as like, oh my God, this is my guy. But I don't feel like that's the way you do where it's like he doesn't grab you at all. It's like I like him fine. I think he's like he had good size compared to a lot of guys from Ring of Honor.
He's like a certain AEW wrestler that a certain Discord server got very butthurt with you about finding mid. So he's kind of like Alex Windsor to me. Like I think his matches are good and stuff, but like I'm just kind of like, that was okay. I felt nothing. And the thing is I felt that at the time with him. Like when those matches and stuff were happening, I was kind of like, he doesn't do anything for me. So we were going back into this and I was like, okay, this is a chance for me to see if it's different this time. And no, it was not.
I generally like his work. Watching these matches, I thought that he did things which I appreciated because he's more a little on someone like Bryan's level or more working like a
British wrestler.
Like a wrestler, and also like he can brawl, he can be like a technical wrestler versus like what sometimes, because we've seen these matches recently, that at least early Ring of Honor the aughts could do, where it's like it just would be hate to use like this is just gymnastics. It's like it's a lot more just like spots and less psychology and just like flashy move done really fast, versus an actual like psychological match that they're telling a story and a narrative and things line up, things match up. You see like the rationale for what they're doing and how it plays into things. So I appreciated that. But I was gonna say that would piss people off. I think Nigel's fine. I kind of like Nigel's work. A guy to me that has never connected to me, and he's actually very like active right now and beloved by many people, is unfortunately Roderick Strong. Like I think he's a great worker. He's never done anything for me. Like he's even held like the Ring of Honor title. We just watched a match where it's like him versus Danielson, and I thought it was a great match. It was very good. Like at no point, if like Roderick won, would I have been like, oh my god, yeah, like I would have been like, eh.
They did.
Like, he doesn't do anything for me. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's bad at all. But he's never what people hated because it's too sports entertainment. The stuff he did with Adam Cole a couple years back, where he's wearing the neck brace and he's like Adam, like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's all goofy? It is like goofy sports entertainment. That is the most entertaining Roger Strong has ever been to me.
See,
like I'm sorry, and again, I'm not hating on his in-ring work. His in-ring work is good. I even like the stuff he's doing right now with Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
Like I think it's entertaining, but I'm not like moved by it.
See, his character work doesn't do much for me, but like his ring work does for me. Like his in-ring.
It's interesting, Matt, because Matt, your perspective on Roderick Strong is my perspective on Nigel McGuinness, and I suspect my perspective on Nigel McGuinness is your perspective on Roderick Strong.
Yeah.
Like I like Roderick. I remembered way back when he joined the Authors of Pain in that street fight up against Adam Cole and Red Dragon. Like, he comes out and the dude had, I mean, he spec'd out the same way AOP was at the time, but I looked at that, I'm like, dude's got he's got the look down. He's got this figured out. He's doing this match and I'm like, I can see it. And then he flips and joins the Undisputed Era and plays second banana to Adam Cole and kind of let all that air out of the balloon for me. But I like Strong more than I like McGuinness. And part of it is just McGuinness doesn't connect with me much, but then the other part is McGuinness has some spots that he likes to do that I really, really dislike. And as much as I might even want to like you, that's really hard for me to get past.
McGuinness does
he
too
says
much.
Not staring at Will Ospreay.
McGuinness does too much. Like I feel like the problem with McGuinness is he's kind of like the kind of the jack of all trades but master at none. Like he tries to do a bit of everything, but he's like not he's not like a master of any of it. Like he'll do mat work and he's kind of good at it, but he's not like Bryan Danielson level. He'll brawl, and again, he's not terrible at it. But he's not like excellent at it, and same with like everything is I think where I run into problems with him.
So the way that McGuinness has some stuff that I like. I really like the Tower of London because I thought it was a really unique take on finding a way of doing a cutter in a time where just doing a cutter didn't cut it. Not to try and make a pun or anything. And the Tower of London actually has several things that are part of it that make it really safe. I like that.
Yeah, I mentioned that to you. Like, I actually liked his Tower of London spot because it's not just like a trite, like, oh, I'm just gonna do like a cutter, like a DT in the corner. If you actually look, and this is where like I feel like the show, it's not poisoned us, but I feel like I've talked about it before on the show where the more experienced we are, and the three of us have like watched a lot of wrestling. I mean, Chad actually did wrestling, so he would even know. But the more I like watched it over time, like I appreciate it more, and I pick out little details. And I'm not saying I'm an expert in it, but I mean, you watch anything like long enough, like you're gonna see like little things. You're gonna pick up little details. And when he was doing it, I noticed it. I'm like, wait, and I watched it a couple times, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I liked it because it obviously looks like an impactful move. But if you see the way he's doing it, he does it, and your eye like almost like it's a great spot because your eye almost gets like you're looking not where you're supposed to. You're looking like, oh, you're focused on him like dropping, like releasing,
Yeah.
and then your eyes like immediately like go down where it's like, oh, let me see him hit the ground. You don't see that what he does when he like twists it and he drops the guy in a way that he's controlling the drop and almost like guiding them and to where the guy, his opponent, in this case Danielson, but he's falling like he can get like his knees down or his hands up. Whatever. He's not just dropping on his face or injuring himself. And Nigel is kind of almost like guiding him. So it's an actually surprisingly safe spot.
Yeah,
because he's not just carelessly dropping a guy that could be dumped on their head or hit their neck, anything like that. He's guiding them down. Great spot.
It's a great spot, and his camel clutch arm lock, I think, is a great submission as well. It falls in the it's one of those submissions that it's really easy to get both people's faces in one camera shot, and not like a wide angle one like a figure four. Like they're both right there, and it's a good arm submission where it seems like arm submissions are good. Arm submissions seem oddly like a rarity, because
it's interesting you say that because like occasionally you'll see a guy like he's like MJF, like the arm bar, like the Fujiwara arm bar.
Yeah,
but I almost would like to see a guy use this because it's like you get a guy like what is that, the Kimura or something? You're just like wrenching the arm back.
The problem with the Kimura, the problem with the Kimura though is, well, Brock uses the Kimura sometimes, but the problem with the Kimura is it's not big enough. Because remember they did that one where he beat
Kimura's
Finn.
Down here.
Remember that one where he beat Finn with the Kimura and the crowd like flipped out because they couldn't see it? Like that's kind of the problem with the Kimura.
Yeah. So if I were describing Nigel's finish, it's kind of like a tucked under top wrist lock camel clutch. And I really like that. It's up here. You're in that. You're both arched up. It's also really easy to take care of the guy you've got it locked in on, because you can give him a little space and not actually be pulling his arm out of socket to do it. And you're in a position where you can help the guy move if you're going to work it, that they move around and stuff. I really do like it. If I had seen it more earlier in my career, I probably would have lifted it. But things that Nigel does that aggravate the living hell out of me. I hate the way Nigel does Sorry, excuse me. Good Lord. I hate the way he does headbutts.
The headbutt spots anytime they popped up here, I just hated them. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't like them at all.
I hate his rebound lariat. Because it's just, God, it looks so damn goofy to me.
I don't like his running European uppercut thing because it's like that's not.
Oh man, see, I like that, and I like the
No, it looks dumb though because it's not like if you were gonna really punch someone for effect. Like, I'm sorry, this is the person that's done like some martial arts in their life. It's like, you don't want to do that because you want that nice base to get like that nice, like you want a nice base. And you can't do that when you're in motion. Like you want to be able to like have at least half a second to stop and really get like your body into it. And you can't do that running.
So you had said that in our chat earlier, and I had to stop and think about why do I give him a pass on that? And I realized if I give Claudio a pass on that, then I have to give Nigel a pass on it. Like,
it doesn't bother me as much with Claudio because I don't know. I think with Nigel, if he didn't do the rope lariat thing, I would be more forgiving of because some of it's just like, God, do you need to bounce off of things all the time? I think was my growing annoyance with him.
And I get what he's doing with the step off the turnbuckle turnaround thing. I don't know, man. There's just something about it that lacks polish. I'm sorry, Matt. I cut you off. Please go ahead.
No, yeah, I just said like I like the running uppercut, European uppercut. I like the lariat, but the whole like run into the turnbuckle, like stepping up on like the bottom the very bottom turnbuckle, like up in the air and then turning around and running to it. That is a little goofy. I'm not sure.
That would work.
What that adds, I guess, in theory, like you're adding momentum, but it looks odd.
That would work for me as a counter. Like if someone sent him into the turnbuckle and they were coming in, and he did that little hop and caught him as they were coming in. Like I think that would be a little cooler. But I don't know. I didn't like the headstands he was doing on the corner and the other.
Okay. Yes. Oh my God. These heads. I'm like, what? When Ultimo Dragon would go into a headstand, he'd go up, and the other guy would turn, and Dragon would kick them on the way in.
Well, they also, I think, in that the context of Dragon too is like, you don't necessarily expect a guy to have the flexibility if they're in that position to kick you in the face either.
But I don't. Maybe it was just these matches, and that's part of the story. But I don't understand what Nigel's accomplishing.
What blew up in his face every time?
Right. What is the headstand supposed to accomplish? Like, would he go into the headstand and then just drop his feet on him or something? Or
I don't know. I honestly don't.
Okay.
I think
I have nothing as a counter that makes me believe that it's a spot worth doing.
Yeah. I think so. I had one I really liked of these, one I hated, and then one I was kind of meh on. But my takeaway was, I think these matches were very hampered by the expectations of the time, as in, the matches are too long. They're doing too much stuff. The crowd sucks. The announcers suck. They're fighting in a rule set that doesn't make any sense. And then they have a match that would have worked better for the rule set they had for the other match. Because the match I liked the best was the Generation Now match where they kept it very simple.
That was my favorite of the three, although I watched these all in chronological sequence. I liked that Generation Now one, which is the first one chronologically the best, and then I actually liked the 2008 one. I did not like the Unification one. We'll talk about it, but
the Unification one I liked better than the 2008 one because I just thought the 2008 one was boring. Like I was checking the time the whole time because I was just bored as fuck watching that match.
So I agree with you that the Generation Now was my favorite. But the other two aggravated me for different reasons, and we'll get into it as we go through it. But
yeah,
I didn't love them, and
I did like the Generation Now one quite a bit. Like
yeah. Well, why don't we just start in on that one? Because this Generation Now was the Unification one, right?
No, this is probably one of their early ones. I think Danielson's the champion.
Yeah,
and McGuinness is challenging. So this is
McGuinness was pure champion because they started with a promo from McGuinness.
Right.
Talking about unifying them.
Yeah, Nigel. Yes, that was coming up. Nigel was the pure champion, and he was challenging Bryan for the world title here. This wasn't even like the unification match, but he was challenging. And I have it. This was July 29, 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'd had a couple of matches up to this point, I think, because this would have been about, I think this would have been about a month after the Strong match we watched last week,
Okay.
or a month before. It's around when the Strong match happened. But so why I like this is so it pretty much starts off. They do a lot of mat work, and then they kind of just get a little more heated and do like a lot of like striking and a lot of their moves. They don't get like fancy with anything. Um, they they keep it pretty good. They do some stuff, and then I like that Danielson was just a prick the way he won, which I laughed. I laughed at the ending.
Yeah. This was good. I like this one the best. It was interesting because, and the unification match was a little bit like this, but they started off just doing like a lot of limb work. Nigel's working over the arm, Danielson's working over the ankle and the leg,
which makes sense for both of them.
Yes, and then halfway through they drop it and they just start, hitting each other like with bombs.
Yeah.
It made sense contextually because they sold like growing frustration with each other as two guys that had wrestled a bunch. So they did drop the limb work, but it was just like, you know what? Like, I just want to hurt you.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, they dropped it, but it didn't bother me as much because it was like they were shifting where it's like, okay, that's either that is for either one of us, it's not working. So let's just start, hitting each other.
Yeah.
And then there was I thought there was some fun stuff with that. I thought Bryan doing the diving European uppercut was beautiful. I thought like perfect timing on that spot, like really looked impactful. I know you're talking about like Nigel's little like turnbuckle headstand thing.
Yeah.
I thought that Bryan had a great spot. There's a great spot there where he does it like the second time in the match. And Bryan just like runs up and just drop kicks him right in the face.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Yeah.
I think after that, like Nigel, something like he got a little bit of a bloody nose. And I did think the announcers did a good job where it's like they tried to sell. It's like, oh, like maybe from that drop kick, like he got a like broken nose.
It made me think of Chuck Taylor because I don't think he ever did it in AEW. He did it in Chikara a lot, but he would do this handstand like splash onto people. And he did it purposely just to look like absolute dog shit to troll people. Like he just looked like a dead fish flopping on top of someone, but it was on purpose.
I did not like the headbutt exchange. Here we
No.
go again with like giving headbutts.
No. There's a reason. There's a reason Danielson had to retire for a couple of years and stuff like that.
Well, I think even Nigel had like concussions or
no. Nigel's problem was Nigel had all the issue with like his shoulders and stuff. Because remember TNA signed him and then he started falling apart like immediately.
Yeah,
and then
he was Desmond Wolf, and he actually got like a kind of like they were pushing him.
Yeah.
And I was excited because I had seen him before, and I'm like, oh, like this could be like his step to bigger and better things. I mean, there was no AEW then, so it's like, well, maybe he'll like go to WWE. But then like his body started. I know there was all sorts of rumors back in the day, which I don't know what validity there was. He had said, I think afterwards, it's like, no, it's just like I did have injuries, and maybe it was something like the shoulder that kept him out of WWE. Because I think there was interest. He maybe even like had a tryout.
No, I think he was signed, wasn't he?
I thought that he ended up with his. Okay, if I'm wrong on this, by all means, please tell me. But I thought that he was signed and then lost it because his blood test came back with hepatitis in it.
That's what I thought.
That's a rumor that I had heard. Like he tested positive for like hepatitis, one of them. But I don't know, and I think that he or people have been like, no, it's not true. Which I mean, there's a lot of stigma with that.
This says on his wiki that WWE did sign him, but rescinded his contract after feeling an old bicep injury needed surgery.
Yeah, I I had heard the Hep C thing, or hepatitis. I mean, there's A, B, and C, but
Oh,
C is one
They
that's
never
chronic.
clarified.
McGinn
C is
in late
C is
May
chronic.
in late May
Right.
2013, McGuinness toured the United Kingdom with the shorter final cut of his documentary and has become an advocate for hepatitis B. So he might have had. Let me see. Hepatitis B vaccination and end the use of international blood loss in wrestling. So I'm guessing he had Hep B then. Doesn't say. This is not. Paragraphs of your friends, wiki editors. Get your shit together.
That's especially. Well, okay, now I got to look this up. Because, like, where my previous position had me in incarceration facilities a lot, I got the Hep C vaccine, right? So that it's like, oh, I could, not, so I could not have that. I was trying to remember if hepatitis B was curable or not.
What's the one Abby was given to people? Was that C?
C. And C is not, for sure, it's not curable. Although it depends upon the medications, because if you actually take antiviral medication, you can get to be where the viral load is so low that it's almost not detectable. And obviously, when that case, like, transmission is much more difficult for people. Hep B, like, it's conflicting. Like, I was literally just looking on, and like the Mayo Clinic is saying that in many cases, like, your body can clear the Hep B infection, but then other sources say, and that's from like 2026. I'm reading this, but there's some articles even from like just a couple of years ago, because I was just looking this up myself right now, that say that it's like, oh no, it's Hep B can be a lifelong thing. I'd always heard that Hep A and Hep B are much less serious, and maybe that's part because, like, you can potentially clear it.
Well, it could be
100% accurate, but
it could be
Hep C has much more stigma, and it's much more easily, like,
it could be
through, like, blood.
It could be like because I think people don't understand, like, if you get chicken pox as a kid, like, you always have chicken pox. It just your body keeps it inert. Like, that's why
chicken pox. It's
unless you get shingles.
Well, yeah. Well, no, but I had a friend. He had leukemia, and well, actually survived. He did like the Make-A-Wish and everything, and they gave him 6 months to live. And then just one day he started getting better, and he's still alive. He's my age, but
gone.
He got so bad at one point that his immune system slipped, and the chicken pox came back because it lost its grip on it. But yeah, if you get shingles, that's your chicken pox giving you an old hello. Yeah, and I've heard it sucks ass from people I know that
I had got shingles when I was 28.
Oh my god.
Unheard of.
Did you get some gout with it, old man?
No, I apparently lucked into having a super mild version of it because I just got it on my back and around my side.
Ugh.
Now, maybe that contributed to some other, like, joint issues I've got. I'm not sure. My wife got... Here's the thing. Shingles can pop up because you're in periods of high stress. Can't imagine why we'd be in periods of high stress here recently. I got it when I lost the job I had at the time, which was our main support. It cut our household income to like 40% of what it had been.
Jeez.
And so I had a shingles outbreak because I'm trying to hold it together, but it was bad. My wife got a shingles outbreak that actually popped up inside of her throat.
Oh my god.
And then I have a friend who got a shingles outbreak that was like on his neck and working its way over towards his eye. They were trying to shut that down before it got into his eye socket. And I'm just like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's bad.
So, hey, guess what? And just as another thing, the shingles vaccine that's out there right now is about reducing the severity if you have it show up. It does not fully prevent it because, frankly, it can't just fully prevent it. But it is about making it so that you can you can make it through it and come out the other side okay. So
Yeah,
anyway,
I know a couple people that got it and said it was the most painful thing they've ever
God,
gone
it's
through.
nerve pain. So if like the one I had was an itch, and it just itched like fire all the time. Um, but yeah, it's nerve pain, which is a whole different kind of pain. It burns. It burns so bad.
Yeah. So I thought why I thought this why I like this one better is they didn't overcomplicate it like the other matches. Um, they kept things pretty simple. The structure of the match is pretty simple. I don't think it overstayed its welcome like the second match especially overstayed its welcome. And I really liked so what the ending is, which I thought was hilarious. So there's a point where some things happen and Danielson gets on the outside and McGuinness and the ref are kind of talking and Danielson crawls under the ring and comes out on the other side of the ring and rolls him up and pins him, which I thought was hilarious.
Oh, I
Mhm.
loved that. I got such a big kick out of that because I thought it made Danielson look very wily, very cagey, and here is McGuinness who'd been talking such a big game. And as the match goes, when they go in to start throwing bombs, Danielson progressively more and more starts just beating the living shit out of him. And I got a huge kick out of that. Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed watching it. And then um, you get into that finish, and it just makes Danielson look very smart, maybe a little douchey.
Uh, I think this would have worked, but so my thing with this though is I think this would have worked better than the unification match under the pure rules because this felt much more like a pure wrestling match. Because my problem, Shad and I are both going to shit on it, but I hate the pure wrestling style because when you say like, okay, this is the pure wrestling title, what I think of is okay, so this is going to be scientific matches. You're going to punish cheating. This is going to be about like working holds, very slow, very gentlemanly kind of style. And then you watch the matches and there's like it doesn't impact anything other than the rope break points.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
because see what I
It's
would
almost like
do is I would say if you cheat in a pure match you lose a rope break if you get caught cheating. Like if you close fist punch someone it's like okay that's a you lost a rope break there. Because then you
Yeah.
have these great instances where maybe a heel lost a rope break early and they lose because they don't have it at the end.
it.
Yes.
It should almost be like British World of Sport, like round system, like like something like completely different versus just like this is just a normal match just with rope breaks. It's like
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, that would be that would
Uh, it okay. My problem with the pure stuff is just doing the gentlemanly grapple stuff is it's not gonna hook me. And then you're not doing that, but you're adding in what seems to me to be honestly kind of overly complicated rules that you're asking the crowd to keep up with.
well it's
And
UWFI stuff, but
if you're that deep in, if you're an ROH mega fan, fine, you're bought in. But if you're somebody who's not, then you're kind of looking at it going, what?
well it's not different
Because
enough. It's not different enough. The match style's not different enough.
and the rules are granular enough because it's like, okay, you only get 3 rope breaks. All right. And if you do this, you lose a rope break. Okay. And if you do this, you lose a rope break. Okay. And it's like, you want me to keep up with all of that while I'm watching this match, too. And if I'm really, really engaged, I might very well forget what the rules are. And then all of a sudden, I have to turn around and have someone remind me why this is what happens.
That's why I
And
think
I don't love that.
so I think my system works better, which is you get 5 rope breaks and if you cheat, you do something illegal and you get caught, it's a rope break because then at least the announcers could be like, why'd they lose a point? And the announcer could be like, well, that's against the rules. So they lost
Yeah.
a rope break. But like, and I would say like the pure grappling I get why that doesn't grab you, and it's not my favorite, but it's something because then it's at least like, okay, this is gonna be the mat work match, or it's like, okay, well, I know what this is gonna be, so I can, I'm either down for that or this is a good time to take a bathroom break or get a sandwich or whatever. So, but I see why Shad hates it though, because I don't like it either. Because it's like you said, it's convoluted, but like where I would add on to what you're saying is it's convoluted, but it doesn't force them to do anything different enough to justify it being its own thing.
Yes.
So I guess we can
Yes.
move on to that since that's the next one. So the unification match is under pure rules. So I had really mixed feelings about this match because I did not like a lot of it, but I really liked the end run where like they started like trying submissions and Nigel's out of rope breaks, so he's just kind of like desperately trying to get out of stuff, and then Danielson kind of just rolls him over and like traps his arms and just elbows him until the referee just says, okay, he's had enough, and calls it by TKO, which I usually hate TKO wins, but I like this one because Nigel was bloody and Danielson is just elbowing him into oblivion. So I like the ending. I liked like the last couple of minutes of it. Did not care for the rest of the match that much. And this has a spot that I absolutely pissed me the fuck off because there's a point where
Yeah.
Danielson's like pulling McGuinness into the ring post on the outside. And there are ways to do that when you can't put your hand up. And
Yeah.
McGuinness chose violence because he literally headbutts the ring post 3 times in a row. Like,
Yeah.
clear as day headbutt.
Oh yeah. And it's like I get the spot. It's like Brian's like pulling him into the thing, but there's absolutely no reason other than obviously Nigel wanted to do it to get the visual of like my
I think
skull is
he,
cracking again.
well, I think, so my theory was, because is that he was trying to bust himself hard way on the ring post.
There's
Because he
easier
starts
ways to do
bleed.
that.
Well, yes, but I'm saying that he did start bleeding after that. So I was kind of like, well, did you do that to bust yourself hard way? Because that's really dumb. But
That's
that's
a dumb. Some wrestlers are dumb. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Like
I hated that.
there's better ways than to give yourself CTE.
No,
I mean,
it was,
he did do it. He intentionally was
yeah.
headbutting like a
There's
steel
like
ring post.
the second one, you can clear as day. You can feel the kerthunk of his skull hitting the ring post.
Even if that's what you wanted to do, here's something, and here's why this extra pisses me off. Okay, and I'm gonna go back and let's see if Shad. I'm holding Shad's feet to the fire on these Danielson stuff, like with consistency. So the first half of this match was a lot of like submission work, limb work, where Brian is working over Nigel's arm. I think his left arm, if I recall. And it made perfect sense because it's like, oh, I'm going to work on the arm because his lariat is his big move. It's one of his big moves. So I'm going to work on the arm. Made perfectly logical sense. Okay. And then halfway through, when they went outside and they start fucking around outside, they drop all that. Like, you don't see any limb work for like the rest of the match. And that upset me more than it did the first match because it's like, okay, I kind of got like you did limb work, but then you stopped. But then it was like, well, then you just started like trying to do like striking each other to wear each other down or get a knockout or whatever. Like, okay, this though, it's like he worked on it a lot, and then it just dropped because now all they're going outside, and then they did, the ring post headbutt spot. But it's like you worked the arm for like 10, 15 minutes overall. Why didn't you be like, I'm going to grab your arms and I'm going to pull you into the post. And then when you do it, he doesn't crack his own skull against the metal post. You do it where it's like the post and he's like slamming his shoulder into the post, like the arm that got worked off, or even like the arm. You want to be like right here. Like you slam, and he's like doing that. And then it's like, that's in the rest of your match. it's like like I'm really injured now. You worked over my arm. Now my arm's been like my shoulder, everything's been cranked into this metal post. I'm even more injured. And then yeah, maybe it's like Bryan's not going to do the arm strikes, the elbow strikes to the head. But, and we saw it in the third match, we'll get to, like he could just start doing elbow strikes to the shoulder or wrenching that shoulder back. He does the cross-face chicken wing. Like you could put him in the chicken wing and have him like submit or pass out in that because the arm is so busted. But instead, what do? They had Nigel's cracking his head into a steel post and then decides I haven't had enough CTE. Let's start throwing like shoot headbutts at each other.
Yeah. Fuck, I forgot they did it in this match too.
What the fuck are y'all thinking?
So here's the thing. The whole damn thing with the headbutt on the post threw this match in the trash for me. It pissed me off that badly.
Absolutely.
Because let's just say for a second. Let's just run with the premise for a second that I've got a hold of your arms and I'm going to pull you into the ring post. And I don't know, if we're going after the arm, maybe the cattle mutilation could actually get a win.
It almost did.
Okay, Pasa.
I almost thought he was going to get a win with it. They were trying.
Yeah, this is like, out of all the Danielson matches we've watched this month, that damn move has not won him one of them. But I've got to hold your arms. I'm pulling you into the post, and instead, here's how you know Nigel's doing it. Like you said, you can see him running into it, but he's like standing there with his chin tilted down and his forehead forward, and his back is ramrod straight. So it is full bore. You can see him doing it. If you want to work that, you pull your chin back a little bit and you let your chest hit and you let your head kind of roll around the side of it a little bit. You don't like full on bonk it, but Danielson grabs, he pulls, and then you take that arm you're working and wrap it around the post and then grab him and do that. Guess what? You can build straight into it from there, but no, we have to have this stupid ass spot where he's racking his head against the stupid ass post and then go have stupid ass shoot headbutts later. And I hated it.
That's another great point. I explained a scenario where it's like Bryan still is holding both arms and pulling him, and so he like rams the shoulder. You have the shoulder injury, but he could have easily just grabbed one, like the arm he'd been working on for minutes, and been like take it and do like the whole like and like crushing it against the post, like and then it's like, oh, he's really hurt. Look, he got against a steel post, and then again you work that into the finish, where you do. One of your signature moves is like the cross, like the crossface, the chicken wing. Yeah. So you could easily put that in, and the guy he submits, or if you want to do the whole passing out or ref stoppage, like he won't submit, but the ref stops it on to save him. Like the ref stops it. It's like he cannot continue. Yeah. You can do that without giving each other like concussions.
Because the thing was like. I don't remember because I saw that match first and I made a comment about the ring post spot and I'm like, that just pissed me the fuck off. And then Shad saw it about an hour after me and he's like, oh my God, I just got to the ring post thing. And then Matt, like the next day was like, what the fuck was that ring spot?
Yeah.
Ring post spot.
I'm like, I'm like, I know the spot you're talking about. I know. And I'm with you, Shad. Like that, the ring post spot itself took me out. I'm like, fuck this match. And then they did more like shoot headbutts. I like wrote in my notes, I'm like, why the continued headbutt? Why did you like add on to that with shoot headbutts? It's so dumb.
Well, especially because
there are times wrestlers do things in matches that it's like, why did you do that spot or whatever. This is one of those like it actually actively angered me. I'm like, both of y'all contributed, like
known better,
like shaved years off your life, or like Nigel just have like a kid like months weeks ago?
You're at least never going to be able to find your car keys easily ever again.
Yeah, it's like you decided this would be cool if I get busted open hard way by headbutting a steel pole. It's like, great, here we are like 20 years later, like your kid is gonna be like, you're like, hey dad, like help me do my math homework, and you're gonna be like, ooh,
well,
multiplication's not good.
Danielson had
thing in the middle of it.
Yeah, multiplication doesn't work for me anymore.
Danielson had
That doesn't work for me, brother.
Danielson
Doesn't
had
work for me, brother.
Danielson had lesions on his brain.
Yeah.
That lesion is, you hear that word and it's like, that's just a word, it's a terminology used where it's like he basically had like, not really a hematoma, but it's like he basically had a bruise.
Yeah.
Like his brain was bruised, which is not good because it's like they're
yeah, and because
a bruise on like your skin is like can be bad, but that'll heal. But a bruise is a hematoma. Like getting hematomas like internally, like that's real bad. Like those aren't supposed to be there. And if you get like a car accident, you can maybe get a hematoma inside you, which could be dangerous. But it's like, okay,
yeah, because
maybe that'd be fine if you get it in the muscle, like I got a hematoma in my like shoulder muscle. It's like that's not good, but I mean you're not a vital organ that's gonna
shoot it to your heart if it
but like a bruise on your brain, it's like that's real not good. Because
the thing is like if it like because it can push on things, like you can lose bodily functions, like there's all sorts of things, but like he won, like this is exactly why he ended up in that state.
Yeah. And I know he did all sorts of like weird things, like, and got mocked because it's like he was doing like oxygen chambers, hyperbaric chambers, things like that. Which again, I'm not like an alternative medicine guy, but there are certain things that are alternative medicine that I can actually believe do something. Like I don't know if it's like considered alternative medicine, but like cupping, I've seen it actually work for people. Acupuncture, I like laughed at acupuncture, and I still think it's weird when you have like an acupuncturist, like a Chinese acupuncturist, and they're like, oh, this will help center your chi. It's like, okay, I don't need the metaphysical like gobbledygook. What is this really going to do? It's like, oh, well, it'll help increase blood flow. It's like, okay, now that's medical. Like that's actually, and I've seen things like that work.
Well, I've had doctors, I've had doctors
hyperbaric chamber that's going to increase the blood flow to your brain. Actually, I think it's scientifically proven that increased blood flow to things actually can help your body like repair itself.
Yeah.
So I can believe him doing that stuff, as weird as it sounds, probably did help.
Well, the thing is though,
that's the catch-all. But
the problem is people have no nuance, because when they get into the alternative stuff, like even like going to a chiropractor helped me when I was having a lot of issues. And the thing is, where people don't have nuance is, and Dr. Steve talks about this with chiropractors and acupuncture, when you're doing that alongside traditional Western medicine, it has a lot of value, especially if it's helping with pain. Where people go wrong is when they are doing that stuff and foregoing like the traditional medicine. Like they work well in tandem. And I think where like chiropractors go wrong is when they are like, oh yeah, we can like do all this side crap we can't do. But a lot of like more modern chiropractors don't get into like the diet, the Scientology shit anymore.
No, and a lot. First off, chiropractors they're not actually in many ways considered real doctors.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff that they do now, it blurs the line where like a lot of the techniques they do, it's not just like the gimmick that you would see on like TV or whatever. It's like you go in there and the chiropractor is just like crack your neck. It's like, you're good to go. See you later this week. It's like, it's not that. They're doing a lot of stuff that's actually almost more akin to like physical therapy.
They're adjusting.
So in that
things.
regard, they're adjusting things, and there's some things like they still do like traction, but there's a lot of like electrical nerve stimulation, and there's other things that they do that it can be edging into more like physical therapy, and physical therapy does actually help.
Because I'll tell you
not
one
physical
thing.
Therapy, but it edges into that.
So one of the side effects I had when I would go, because I was having back spasms and it helped, but there was a side effect it had where my hands and feet get cold really easy. And after a chiropractor trip, my hands and feet wouldn't get cold. Because it's
interesting.
Well, in this hand, once I had carpal tunnel, this hand doesn't get cold like that anymore. Because it was obviously a nerve problem. It was my nerve getting pinched.
I'm in this spot with what goes on with my body that on one hand, some people, oh, chiropractor could help with that. And I'm like, and the other side is like, look, if I pop my own neck, I pinch that nerve in my neck.
Oh, you can tell them
not.
You can tell them not to touch. You can tell them not to touch your neck. I don't let them touch my neck.
I'm just in this place where I'm like, man, I don't know that I'm good for this.
Yeah, tell them not, because where I go a lot that they help me with is like my back and my hips.
Yeah, there's, and if I were, how can I phrase this? And okay, I like my doctor. My doctor listens to me. My doctor makes recommendations and says this is what I would encourage you to do. But if I make a choice that and explain my reasoning, my doctor backs me up. Like I've got a good doctor-patient relationship. I am very hesitant to go outside of that particular realm. And if I did and I walked in somewhere and they started hitting me with that woo-woo stuff, I'm out. I'm pulling the drag chute immediately.
The one I went to that I liked was purely scientific. They didn't even like try to sell you on like the woo-woo crap. It was very much okay, this is like what we're gonna do, this is what's gonna help you, like that sort of thing. Like if it like also like you need to see a legitimate doctor for that, like stuff like that was what. But like I also had that's actually funny. So I had shoulder problems for years, and I went for my first massage, and he like touched something in my shoulder, and like I felt something let go, and my shoulder was fine after that. So I've had good luck with.
It can't happen, but I'm not ready for that sort of stuff. So,
and you can tell them, say, don't touch my neck, and they won't.
Yeah. So anyway, back to this match pissing me all the way the hell off. After that spot, the rest of the match, I'm just irritated.
It was terrible.
Like, none of that was necessary. That actively made me uncomfortable to watch your match. I don't like this. I don't want to see more of it. You know, I'm done. I'm out.
I've seen stupidity in death matches that were less bad than the ring post headbutt. Like that is legitimately up there with one of the dumbest things I've ever seen happen in a wrestling match.
Yeah, it's really bad. And
I didn't tell them, and like for everyone to know exactly what I was talking about after I said like that was just dumb.
Yeah, it's what you said was, wow, that ring post spot was really dumb. And so it's like, oh, okay, there's a ring post spot that Brad really dislikes. I wonder what it's. Oh, yeah, it's so stupid.
Because like because it happens like once, and you're like, what? And then you see the second one's the really bad one. Cause you just see it connect, and you can feel the impact, like the way it impacts him. Didn't he hit it?
Didn't they do it like 4 times though?
Yes,
at least 3, but I think they did it 4. And I'm just like, no, doing it once is bad enough.
Well, you could knock yourself clear out for doing that.
Yeah. And so I was just like, nope, I don't want to see, like, I don't care what the finish on this match is. I'm pretty well out. Like, I guess the whole idea is he's knocked himself loopy on the, with the ring post stuff. And then the hammer and anvil elbows, which they weren't called that at the time, but Danielson used that to put him away. Look, we didn't need that. We didn't need that stuff. And so God, that just really, really upsets me. In any event, into the third match, and the third match, I've got it right here. Hang on. Third match was from This was in New York, Ring of Honor 6th anniversary, February 23rd, 2008.
Yes.
World Championship match, Nigel McGuinness versus Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, and now it's flipped, as the first two matches that we saw from 2006 were during Danielson's reign, and now he lost the title to Homicide, and I don't think Nigel won it from Homicide. I think he won it from someone else, maybe Austin Air. I'm not sure who he actually won it from, but he was by this point, like a couple years later, or a year and a half later, like he was the champion. And I haven't seen this show. I mean, I felt like he was really like a heel for most of his like title run. I don't really recall him being a face, but I guess he for sure, like, maybe he turned heel on this show, or he for sure like went out there and was like, I guess,
Yeah.
healing it up before, because they mentioned on commentary that he earlier appeared on the show and did some things that was trying to get the crowd against him.
Yeah.
The enemy here has switched, where in the first two, like, Danielson was the heel, and then now we have Nigel as the heel, and Danielson is the face. And there was a gimmick here where, because of Nigel's past history of like head trauma, like he had Danielson like promise like not to, do any specific strikes or aim for like the head, not to give him like further head trauma.
Right.
So they were working the match that way, and I thought it was fine. Like, it wasn't bad. It was pretty decent, nothing spectacular, even goodish. But again, Danielson's working where he's not trying to like, injure the head. But then he gives a belly to back suplex to Nigel. Nigel like acts like, you've hurt his head. And the announcers even, good call by the announcers. They're like, well, when you get that move, you land on like your upper back, like your neck. You could injure like your upper back and neck. But like, oh, maybe he like, he's acting like he hit his head.
Right.
So he's like, he kind of goes to like the outside. He's on the apron, and then he just hauls off when the referee comes to check on him. He like hauls off and like clacks the ref when the ref like, he feels, and then to DQ himself.
I didn't like that spot that early in the match, personally.
I thought that was fine, and then he gets on the mic and it's like, I promise you guys, your title match. There you go. You got your title match. Bye. And then it's like, then he, the locker room basically empties. It's like, oh no.
But that was it was Age of the Fall and Strong, because it was I couldn't see who was in the dark, but it was Jimmy Jacobs, Delirious, and Roderick Strong that you could see, and then someone who was in the shadows. I'm guessing it might have been Seth Rollins, but I think he was a little too wide for Seth.
It was Austin Aries.
Oh, Austin Aries,
Kevin
sorry.
Steen.
Yeah.
Austin Aries was the one on the mic.
Yeah, sorry.
Kevin Steen was there.
I was confusing him and Jimmy
there,
Jacobs,
Yeah.
And Delirious was to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I said Jimmy Jacobs. I even knew it was Austin Aries.
So they come out there and they say, hey, we're not going to let you walk off like that. You're going to get back in there and defend it with honor. You've got to go through us. Mm-hmm. Okay. You know what that sounds like to me? This sounds like heel tries to get out of defending the title. People send him back into the ring. Therefore, we're setting up for a face win.
Yeah. I would have gone a little further, because I've liked the ones where like they still try to weasel out and all the faces like grab them and they just dump them back in the ring. Like, I think that could have been a fun little addition to it.
Yeah. And so you do all that, and then we go through this match, which, look, I'm sorry. From where I'm sitting, it got way too self-indulgent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was just kind of like...
Because my problem with this versus the other matches, especially with Nigel, was like, I'm doing all this slow because it's important, and I'm slow because I'm making everything count, and it just like, oh my god, like no, you're not being like interestingly slow like in like say the first match we did. You're just being boring. Like you're just making me go to sleep.
It, I was just I was just frustrated because I'm watching this and I'm we do this thing, we restart the match. It goes back in there, we're having this match. And it feels like it goes for how long is this match?
30ish minutes, I think.
It feels like you could have carved 10 minutes off of this and been absolutely fine.
There is one thing I really like towards the end. It isn't the finish, but Nigel doing a callback where he does the same elbow spot on Danielson
Yes. Yes.
was a highlight.
I like there was a callback to that. And I actually liked that because it did. When they restarted the match, like this was kind of almost like a trope that I thought that they subverted a little bit, which I expressed before. Like I actually like when you have like the common tropes. I like when they subvert them. I don't need it. I don't need everything in wrestling, in media, whatever, to be a constant postmodernist subversion where it's like you think we're going to do this, so we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
It's like I don't need everything to be that way, but sometimes
What?
I do like, because you're right, it's like the heel tried to get out of the title match, like they've restarted it. Oh man, it's going to be a Bryan Danielson win, new face champion. It's like they kind of subverted that because they restarted it, and then you just had like Nigel carry most of the offense, and he was just kind of like a bully, just like, throwing Bryan around like a lot of the match.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying though is where I think modern Hollywood goes wrong is like when you subvert everything, like modern Hollywood it kind of does now, then it has no meaning because because now the subversion is the trope.
Yes.
If you subvert everything, then what you're telling me is I'm waiting for you to do a twist on whatever the next thing is, because you're telling me you're not going to play anything straight.
Yeah.
If everything is subverted.
Like a good subversion is, I think it's the first South Park Christmas special that was on TV, not the student film they did, where they didn't kill Kenny and they made a joke of it at the end.
Yeah.
Like that is a good subversion because you're waiting for it, and they even play with it a bit where a couple things happen where he should have died, and then he like celebrates at the end because he didn't die.
Yeah. Like that's subverting an expectation you've gone through all the trouble to set up, and you did it. In the early seasons, they did it that once, and then they kind of let that joke go because it had run its course in a lot of ways. Like I'm not saying that they quit doing it entirely, but they didn't. It wasn't like a touchstone every episode. Okay.
But when they killed him, I think they still kill him sometimes, but
Sometimes, yeah, that's what I mean. But so they in this match, okay, that finishes a callback. Gotcha. Okay. My problem is, why the hell are you going to have a group of guys come out here and force the heel to restart a match so the face can have a shot at it to have the face lose?
I mean,
Like what's that? That's you don't. That flies in the face of wrestling logic, because if that was the case, why do that whole spot to begin with? If the heel's going to be dastardly and win, then why do that spot?
I think you can still have the heel win in that situation, but like I think you have to play with it more than they did. Like they kind of, because you could do something like let's play around with this a little bit to make it more interesting. Let's say the faces come out there, and let's say they come out with straps, so they kind of force the issue and they force him back into the ring under threat of getting beaten, and they're hanging out around the ring, And so let's say Nigel, if he tries to slip, he just gets the absolute shit thwacked out of him. So he has to stay in the ring. So then you go up, and let's say he gets into it with Kevin Steen, and let's say Kevin Steen does something and he just clocks Bryan by mistake and it lets Nigel win. And then you use that to have an issue with Steen and Danielson. Like, that's a way you could still have the heel win, but that's more interesting, and like that's your storytelling there more.
Yeah, that is not a that is, for lack of a better term, that's just schmaltz finish.
Yeah.
That is, you're doing a screwball finish. They don't do that here. It's just
that's the
Nigel
problem.
just wins. You don't do that shit because there's no point to it. Why go through and do all of that and have them send him back to the ring? He's supposed to be getting sent to the back to the ring to get justice for him doing that. But he doesn't.
Yeah.
And so what has happened is now it's there's no point to doing it. You've deflated all of that. You've made,
especially when he dominates the match too. That's also.
Yeah, it's you've made Danielson frankly look very bad because Nigel cheated because he was frustrated and pissed off. And then you have people send him back to the ring, say, go defend this with honor. Hint, doesn't. But he runs all over Danielson. So in other words, why did he need to do it in the first place?
Yeah, because I think even like
that's where I'm coming from.
Take the schmaz out of it. Let's just say he goes back in there, and it's the rest of the match is pretty much just Danielson belting to ass Nigel, and then Nigel just finds some cheap way to win. Yeah. Like, that's different.
I would agree with both of you. I would agree, like, let me preface saying, like, I actually didn't mind. I thought this is less of, like, a moves match or, like, we're trying to have, like, a 5-star. This was more like they're trying to go with a story here. And I liked aspects of the story because I did think that this was like a, looking at all three, like, with like a year and a half between, like, the unification match and this or so, it's maybe would have been lost. But watching all three, like, back, I felt that the narrative to me was a little more obvious. So I like this one probably a little bit more than you guys did because I thought that it was like the change of dichotomy. It's like now you have Nigel as the evil heel and Bryan's like the face. And you see certain things where now Nigel being the heel is like, I'm going to be like a dick to Bryan and I'm going to do things, including like the callback spot, you know, from the unification match, the move he lost. You know, he lost to Bryan, ref stoppage in that unification match. Now he's doing the same thing to Bryan. It didn't win the match for him, but he had to do something else. But it's like that callback. I felt like there was kind of like a linear narrative that was being told kind of like throughout the three matches. So I liked it a little more than you guys did. But I do think you're right, where it's like if you're going to do the whole like restart the match, you're going to have this altercation with the other Ring of Honor, like the Ring of Honor faces, then you should have had that play a little more. I don't know if you like now you make it an impromptu like strap match, lumberjack match, but it would have been more interesting to be like you had all those guys come out and be like, you want to leave? No, not happening. You're to go in there and finish that match, and they're just like hovering around outside. And then maybe it does play into the finish. Maybe they don't get actively involved. They're like right at the ring. But because a couple times like Bryan and Nigel went outside the ring, then you could, you know, contrive some sort of thing where Nigel's there at the Bryan and then he like starts something with someone like Steen or whatever. Yeah. And then that kind of leads to something. It doesn't have to be like, it doesn't exactly have to be like Dean, for example. Let's just use him. Like he goes to attack Nigel ducks and he hits Danielson, and then it's like immediately like Nigel throws him in there, pins him.
Or you do the Nigel like let's say Danielson's down and Nigel swats at Steen on the outside, and
Yeah.
then Steen gets up on the apron, and then Danielson comes in, Nigel ducks, he hits Steen, and then Nigel does like the victory roll out of the ropes and pins him.
Yeah. Or something where it's like if the move is going to be like, he gets Bryan to submit or pass out, whatever, with that arm hold, like maybe you do something where Steen or somebody else tries to attack Nigel because Nigel's like taking a swat at him, whatever, and then he does something where he hits Bryan like in the arm or shoulder, something where they kind of leads into the finish. But
Yeah.
I like the match more than you guys, but I do think you're right that could have been incorporated into the match. It would have made it a little bit more interesting.
I think what the last 2 weeks have really showed me is how much the indie scene grew up between the point that this happened and the start of AEW, because you can see like in AEW the lessons they learned. Like they wouldn't make the mistakes of these matches in AEW. They wouldn't have them go this long. They would, like the workers themselves, like Nigel and Danielson, would tone it down a bit because they don't want to do everything in one match, like, which I feel like the problem of this last match especially was.
Yeah.
Obviously the announcers would be better, the production would be better, the the headbutts would not be there, but it because I even think like the Liger match is a good example of that. Match would not be 20 minutes now, it would be like 12 minutes.
Yeah, because it doesn't need to be that long to accomplish what they wanted to accomplish.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, as an example, not that long ago, I went back and rewatched the Bryan Danielson Minoru Suzuki match. That one they did on Collision because the E was screwing around. And that match is not that long. I think it's about 15 minutes. And what they're doing for a lot of it is they set up for those big fighting spirit strike exchanges. Okay, what does that do? Is there more they could have done with that match? Could they have done more grappling stuff or something like that? Absolutely. But that means that you have not done everything. So you still have something that you could do later for that match. And by having that match structured the way it was a spectacle to see without giving everything away.
Agree.
So,
like the Kenny Omega Bryan Danielson match, I think is a great example of what you're saying, because it's a 30-minute match and they worked a very simple style. They didn't do everything in their arsenal, and they left you wanting to see more.
Yeah. It whet everybody's appetite for it without
blowing their load.
I'm mixing metaphors. It whet everybody's appetite for it without giving away the store. And so that means that you got to have the first match that they had was one where they were being very cautious and feeling each other out. And that meant that later on there was more you could do and there were more places you could go with it.
And I think FTR Briscoes, I think, was the same thing with their 3 matches. Is they didn't throw everything into the first match.
They didn't. And that first match was a banger. But that first match was also a very intense, high-speed, straightforward match. But they weren't getting super complicated with it.
Yeah.
So
I think you do see like the evolution of wrestling. I also think like the problem was, I think when ROH started and like the early aughts indie wrestling was kind of a response to what the Attitude Era had been and what WWE was doing. So that meant longer matches with more work rate. But then what happens is you get down the road 4 or 5 years, and now it's just become an indulgent mess. Like, what reminds me a lot of this is like when NXT was getting super indulgent and you'd watch like a takeover and you'd look and it's like 9:15 and they're coming out for the main event and you're just like, oh my god, they're gonna have another 35-minute self-conscious epic.
Yeah. It was like you said, it was a contrast to what they had on TV at the time, and it was a contrast that I think, unfortunately, swung the pendulum too far the other way, and they were so fixated on doing all of that it's like, oh, this has got to be a 35-minute match, and you got to go out there, and I want to see a bunch of near falls and stuff. And all right, we'll go do that, but then you don't give them any more. You don't give them any more guidance or anything. It's just a mess, and that it's not a mess. I misspeak. It's frustrating.
It's hampered. It's hampered by the expectations of the era, is what I would say.
Yeah, and at the time, I'm sure lots of people in the era were talking about how great it was, which is why recency bias is something to be careful about. There are some things that I have watched in the moment, and then an hour later, when I was thinking, oh, that was so great, and I've stopped and gone, all right, that was pretty good. Is it that great? And then I was like, I'm going to have to come back to this later because I'm still excited about this thing that just happened. I can't be fair.
Yeah.
So.
But that's been Bryan Danielson month. I thought it was kind of interesting doing a month just devoted to one. Well, a bit of February because we did Danielson match in there. But I thought it was kind of interesting to devote a whole month to a singular worker.
Yeah.
And it filled in our catalog because we have not done a lot of the aughts.
Yeah.
But this absolutely showed me was just it reinforced like he is one of the best of all time. Like he just really is. He's on a short list. He legit is probably, in my opinion, like top 10. He's just fantastic, and he showed throughout this like catalog of matches we saw, and that's like scratching the surface on obviously what's out there, but just little things he would do.
His stuff looking like it hurts, honestly, is a big like plus to him. Like that was one of my takeaways, is like all this shit looks good.
Yeah. I also guess for some reason I didn't appreciate his athleticism. Like he was doing some stuff where it's like you got to be in really great physical shape.
Yeah.
To do some things he do.
His charisma in this era was a lot better than I remember too. Like he had, like he definitely had a lot to him.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of presence to him it's not as polished, but you absolutely get why he was so regarded.
Yeah. And he's got that Kenny Omega and Ric Flair quality that I should have known he has, but so like he has that same thing where his offense is very simplistic and it's very flexible, so he can incorporate what you do in very well, but he can also string his offense together in a lot of different ways and like work it to their size, what they do, the style of match he wants to do. So like I think that's something guys don't get enough credit for, especially Kenny Omega, because people act like he wrestles like someone in the WWE, because like I said, he like if you look at Kenny Omega like on an offensive level, nothing he does is that complicated. He can do it to pretty much anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
And it can work in multiple situations. Like a V-trigger, you can throw a V-trigger in anywhere.
Yeah. One of the things that stuck out to me on that front with Danielson is one of his big spots was your straight up just regular back suplex. Yeah, you can do a back suplex with anybody. He even has a top rope back suplex. That's about as simple as it gets when it comes to moves. And it's something that he used a lot. Cool. I like it.
Diving headbutt, same thing.
Well, his diving headbutt. Because he doesn't diving headbutt like Voldemort did. He doesn't diving headbutt like Harley Race or Bam Bam Bigelow did.
Yeah, but see,
Danielson jumps, he spreads his arms like it's a swan dive, but on the way down, he's pulling them back in, and he's kind of landing more to one side.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing though. Harley Race was fine because when Harley Race got concussed, he would call the concussion a pussy and it would leave.
Well, and Bam Bam was so big that this is going to sound like it's a criticism, but it's not. But Bam Bam's impact was not with his head when he would do a diving headbutt. Bam Bam's body would hit first. And so it worked.
He also came in at an interesting angle. Like Bam Bam's is very interesting because his is pretty safe and works well for his body.
Yeah. Well, Bam Bam's does not go high, come down. Bam Bam's kind of goes forward.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Kamala splash from the top.
Yeah.
It doesn't get lift. It has forward momentum. Does that make sense?
He goes down like Bam Bam makes a lot of impact on his chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it looks cool, so I'd have to look at how Harley did his because I don't know if Harley had some tricks to his.
I had to look, but if I had to guess, he probably like was lower body.
He probably didn't do
and
it
maybe
a ton
belly
either.
was like his lower body and belly probably was hitting first.
Unlike,
And if you do that, like there, you can like control it.
yeah, unlike a certain
Bryan-
someone that just went all in on the head impact.
Yeah. I like Bryan's a lot just because like you can see again one of the things where it's like the more wrestling you watch, like you can see it. So I can actively see how he's landing, and so it's like he's not actually. Get the whole thing where it's like he had to like stop wrestling for like several years because brain injuries, but I don't think it's from like the headbutt spot because the headbutt spots he was doing, like the diving headbutt, he was not actually.
Yeah, I think it was
landing
the
with his
headbutts.
head. Yeah, it's things like that, or him just getting his bell rung other ways, but not from like a diving headbutt. Because if you look and see like his other parts of his body, like his chest, shoulder, everything like that, knees, like they're actually what's like landing first, and then he's just doing it. To me, it's almost like he's really like almost doing like a shoulder dive onto guys. Yeah. But again, when you do certain things like that, it happens very quickly. Your eye like oh, this head, and that's like all the impact. But part of his head is like touching the body, so you think, oh, headbutt.
I think
so.
Oh, go ahead, Chad.
I just looked up Harley Race's diving headbutt. Harley Race, when he goes up for it, he either goes to the second or top, and he just goes forward, and he's landing on his hands when he comes down. He's not like arms out, Titanic face first. So it's a lot safer.
I was gonna say one thing I really appreciate about Danielson, and I saw it a lot in the Nigel one, but also the strong match, is like his attention to detail in a lot of things, but especially his mat work, because they're doing like a wrist lock in the unification match. He's working a wrist lock, I think. Now maybe it's one of them, but like he's not just like he doesn't just like kind of twist the guy's arm a little bit and maybe does the stomp and like pull on your arm. Like he's cranking on the wrist, he's grabbing the fingers, like he's doing all sorts of stuff to like work it. Because that was one thing I liked about I don't think early Ronda. I think she stopped doing it later because they weren't helping her. But like when she would do that arm bar and you'd see her go in to get like the fingers and she'd like roll the wrist to like get it locked in properly. Like he's doing stuff like that.
Yeah. So, by the way, I'm looking up Bam Bam Bigelow's. He does the same thing Harley did, except instead of just like pendulum dropping down, he would jump into it. So he'd jump, arms out, and then down in front of him to land on. So basically, the diving headbutt has a horrific reputation because Voldemort insisted on doing it in the worst possible way.
Though I thought it was a little uncalled for when Harley Race would do it, that he'd put his cigarette out on his tongue before he did the dive.
Oh, he did? The one I was watching, as he jumps, he just takes a drag and puts it back on the way down.
Puts it in his ear. I love Harley. But I think that's it for this one. We have had some discussions about doing that with a different worker, but we haven't said anything because I like this as an experiment. I thought it let us deep dive a little more. And it was it also, I think, seeing stuff close together, you start seeing more of their habits and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that is it for this week. Is there anything else we have?
I don't think so.
I got nothing.
Yeah, it was really light news week. Mania is coming up. When is Mania? Is it in 2
April
weeks?
18th?
Is it that late again?
Let me see. Let me look. April. Yeah, 18th and 19th, I believe. So we're 2.5 weeks away.
And there's no matches, isn't there?
Yeah,
No,
I don't think it's full card.
It's not full.
Remember,
it might have this many.
Remember, you know what's crazy? Remember how much of a clusterfuck 15 was because Russo was stupid and changed 2 of the matches? Because he had, so if you don't know, so in 15 he had Road Dogg win the Intercontinental title and Billy Gunn win the Hardcore title, and the build up to that they had been chasing the opposite belt to what they won. But as screwed as that show was from a booking perspective and how stupid that was, I was just thinking about that today. I'm like, even by early February, you knew most of what the Mania card was going to be with Vince Russo booking. And it's how is it Mania and you don't even have half the matches?
I don't understand how you can't. Yeah, I don't understand how you could be at the Rumble and not know what you were building towards at Mania. I don't understand that at all.
I just don't get it. Because I would feel I would feel you'd feel the pressure to for Mania to be good, especially when business is kind of down.
Yeah, kidding. You want it to be something that's going to pull people in, that gets eyes on you, and then if you just, it's a phrase I'm looking for here. If you blow it off because it's oh, well, people are going to be there anyway, that's a real good way to make sure that there aren't going to be people there anyway.
And last year's wasn't particularly good either.
Yeah.
But I think that is it for this week. We will be back next week as always. So thank you everyone for watching. This has been Matt, Shad, and Brad. We've been in 3 corners and you've been in the 4th. And we will